If you add up all the time lost from short stoppages in this factory, you'll be amazed at the total, I guarantee. In one factory I know well, it amounts to tens of thousands of hours every month. Anyway, let's try and get rid of the big six as soon as possible and create a more productive workplace. There's 6 tough nuts to crack, but don't give up so easily. All right, gentlemen? I'm sure you can do it. In fact, I know you can do it. Splendid!
Let's take a look at some ideas that were put into practice in several plants that have won PM awards for their success in getting rid of the 6 major losses. In this factory, a 15-minute meeting is held every morning. The participants are leaders of the maintenance and production sections. The purpose of these meetings is to work out a countermeasure strategy for dealing with short stoppages. Individuals are encouraged to raise problems from their own section for instant discussion. Solutions can then be swiftly implemented. As a result of these meetings, the number of problems has been reduced from well over 1,000 per month to around a dozen. In this production area, they have implemented improvements at about 600 different places. This is a classic example of a full range of improvements which succeeded in removing all 6 of the major loss types. For example, the metal waste from one machine used to be about 20 centimeters long, and it was a prime cause of breakdowns and defective products. By implementing a number of improvements, the waste was reduced to just a few millimeters in length, and both breakdowns and defective products have been reduced to almost zero. Now let's look at some more specific examples. The first example is this cutting machine. Fine filings used to fall through the channel holding the cutting blade and also fall off the edge of the cutting table onto the rubber wheel below. The filings caused damage, and as a result, the machine regularly broke down. For a long time, everyone thought it was impossible to prevent filings from damaging the machine. But at last they couldn't stand it any longer, and the operators decided they had to improve the design somehow. They managed to design an original improvement by adding this effective wheel cover and waste channel, which keeps the waste away from the workings and concentrates it in one place. Cleaning time has been greatly reduced, and breakdowns have been reduced to almost zero. The workers in this next case used to have the attitude that all they had to do was to cover up all problem points. But as they learned more about TPM methods, they decided to check whether the covers were really necessary and efficient or not. In other words, their way of thinking was completely reversed. It was a major step to remove all the covers and reconsider what to do with all the equipment. Transparent acrylic covers were installed so that they could actually see what was going on inside and root out problems immediately, but only where they were thought necessary for safety reasons. Before the improvements, downtime in this section amounted to more than 1,000 minutes per month, but that has now been reduced by well over 90%. Perfect setups the first time. What do they mean by that? Well, let's take a look at the before and after figures for this next machine. Before improvement, setup time here was 6 minutes, and the adjustment period was also 6 minutes. and at least 5 test products had to be made before full operation could begin. But after the implementation of one-touch die replacement, the setup time was reduced to 2.8 minutes, and neither adjustment period nor test products were necessary. In other words, this was a very successful, epoch-making improvement. In this factory, sections which were thought to be doing a particularly good job were designated as model lines. All the plants which have been awarded PM prizes, in fact, considered all the 6 major losses very seriously. This, of course, involved spending a lot of time to come up with ideas and experimenting on a trial and error basis, all in the attempt to remove the problems associated with the 6 major losses completely. The striking results here include 0 breakdowns, 0 defective products, and 0 short stoppages, as well as a resetting time reduced from several hours to just 10 minutes or so.
Well, what do you think? The examples we've been looking at are real proof that the 6 major losses can be eliminated with the right attitude, sufficient effort, and determination. The results can be very impressive indeed and make your workplace a much nicer place to work in. You just have to change your way of thinking a bit and work at it. Right. Next question.
Professor, I'm not a maintenance person, so why do I have to learn all about the equipment?